Did you know that 1 in 3 divorces that happen are a gray divorce? That means that a couple that are 50 years or older has decided to end a relationship, often after decades of marriage. The rate of divorce among people 65 and older has tripled since the 1990s. And while these marriages can fail for any of the dramatic reasons that younger marriages can fail, often these marriages don't end with a bang, more of a whimper. If you are someone who wants to have a strong relationship in retirement, like this video and keep watching. This is Retirement Countdown 1000, and we explore things here that will help you have a great retirement. And maintaining a relationship might very well be part of it. Like I said, 36% of divorces are of people who are 50 and older. And 56% of people who are headed towards retirement would say that a divorce would entirely derail their plans. 34% of retirees will tell you that it already has. Divorce means splitting not just your relationship, but your finances. It splits not just a marriage, but it splits apart your future. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not someone who is against divorce for any reason at all. There are some relationships that are toxic or dangerous. And if that's your situation, by all means, this relationship should end. But for many, salvaging this relationship is going to bring you much more happiness than seeing it fall apart. And if that's you, if having a strong relationship in retirement is something that you would like, let's get into this. The core idea behind this is that couples don't necessarily get into some dramatic state of problems. They just drift apart over the years. You have a busy life. You have a career that takes up extra hours. You have kids maybe, and you're running them around. And when you realize what you talk about, you realize you either talk about your job, or you talk about your kids, or you talk about your parents, or you complain about the neighbors, but you don't really connect on a one-on-one basis. And when retirement starts looming, you start looking across the table at each other and realize we don't know each other anymore. We don't really like each other that much anymore. This marriage has become difficult. Is it really even worth it, or are we better off trying to start over? Drift happens slowly over a period of years. Again, your marriage doesn't explode, it just evaporates. So let's look into some ways to notice and to possibly repair this process of drift. First of all, and foremost, is to look at some counseling. And realize that you are not people with dramatic problems of trust to be overcome. Drift is something that you can often do with a relatively short amount of counseling, just to kind of give you some skills to get you going in the right direction. Studies show that 70 to 80% of couples who are thinking of divorce because they've just drifted apart can repair their relationships, sometimes maintaining the marriage or at least making for a more amicable divorce. Often it helps partners hear each other with clarity. And quite frankly, sometimes insisting on counseling is the thing that wakes one of the partners up to the idea that something's wrong. Couples very often wait too long to start. In fact, because retirement is a major stress in your life, empty nest is a major stress in your life, it's not a bad idea to have a few sessions with a counselor just as a check-in to make sure you're doing okay. Now that we've established that counseling helps, let's talk about 9 other things that might be able to help you. Number 2 here is to remember your story. Reflect on your shared history, your wins, the great moments of your life together. This has the added benefit of helping you realize why this relationship matters and makes you more willing to go through some hard work to save it. Remember, if you raised children, what that was like to raise children together. Imagine what it'll be like to continue to share your journey together as your children grow. Maybe they have children. It can just help anchor your relationship. The second is to find shared activities. Maybe this is going back to something you liked to do a long time ago. Maybe it's something brand new, like you decide to go start dancing together and learn a few new steps. Or maybe it's taking interest in one another's hobbies. I know my husband's really into model railroading, and my interest in trains is not what his is. But when my free time goes from a few hours a week to 100 hours a week, spending a little time side by side with him, helping to do some of the work on the railroad might be kind of fun. I like to paint, and my husband has limited interest in art, but yet learning some color theory and doing some painting might help him in his hobby. So maybe we could take a class pursuing my interest together. But try and find things that you can do together and rebuild fun together. The fourth thing to consider is to create a shared future. Really start imagining what retirement could look like. What are the things you'd like to do? Do you have dreams of travel? Where would you like to go? Do you have an ideal day that you can map out? What would that look like? Do you want to move to a new and exciting location? Do you want to volunteer together at something you both care about? Maybe realizing that exercise is so important, you come up with a plan for exercising together and encouraging each other on your way. And just a little selfishness here, if you would like some help in that, subscribe and watch this channel together, because this channel is all about building a great retirement. And think of what great conversations you can have by discussing these things together. A fifth thing to think about is physical intimacy. Are each of you happy with your level of physical intimacy now? What could change? What would you like to do differently? Discuss any barriers that you're facing openly and without judgment. And this is sometimes an area where a counselor can actually help a lot, because sometimes this is one of the hard things to discuss on your own. A sixth thing is to ask yourself honestly if you are checking out of the relationship. There's lots of ways we check out. Sometimes it's because of busyness, running other people around. It could be your teenage children. It could be aging parents. It could be the busyness of work and long hours there. But one of the things that's very common anymore are screens. And this is a little ironic from someone who wants you to keep watching her YouTube channel. But the truth is, we can spend way too much time looking at screens. And more than that, we can be looking at different screens. I watch my program, you watch yours. I scroll here, you watch a program there. And the next thing we know, we are maybe side by side for many hours, but we're not interacting. The seventh thing is to guard your heart. As you are feeling disconnected with your spouse, with your partner, you might find someone else interesting. They're new and they're different and there's some excitement there, and maybe you start feeling some fluttery feelings. And if that happens, you need to be strong enough to stop it right now. It hasn't gotten to the point where it's going to ruin your relationship, but small choices are the things that lead to infidelity. So set rules for yourself and follow them. The eighth thing is to take care of yourself and yourself be an interesting person. And I think that's a great thing as a goal as we go into retirement. We're not just doing the same old routine anymore. We get to explore who we are and what our interests are. And as we do interesting things, we have interesting things to talk about. If you're taking care of your health and your energy, you're going to have more life and energy to give to your partner. The ninth thing is just to do regular marriage check-ins. If you go to counseling, they might give you some tools to use, but here's a simple one. You take a 3-minute check-in each day. The first person talks for 30 seconds about what their day has been like. The second person reflects back to them for 30 seconds what they heard them say. And the first person takes another 30 seconds to maybe correct any misunderstandings or add some extra information. And then you switch. 3 minutes a day. It's not a lot, but it's one of those things that can just help you check in. And if you're concerned about your marriage, part of your conversation, your 30 minutes is, or 30 seconds, part of your 30 seconds is just talking about how you're feeling in the marriage right now. And finally, number 10 is get curious again. If you think back to a time of dating, you're trying to get to know this person and maybe a little bit helping that person get to know you. But get curious again about them, about what makes them excited, what their interests are, because the truth is we all grow and change as we get older. And the person you are married to or partnered with right now is not the person that you started this relationship with. They've changed and you've changed. So get curious about the new you and find a way towards falling in love with someone who is different from who your partner of years ago was, but who still might be a wonderful and interesting person that you just happen to have all this shared history with. Drift in marriage is common, but it is fixable. Early action matters. So put a comment down below if you're someone who's been married for a long time and you are making it work as you head towards retirement. What helped you stay connected all these years? What did you do to turn things around when you started noticing some drift? And final, like and subscribe and share this information so we can continue building a better retirement together. I'm Lisa. This is Retirement Countdown 1000, and I hope to see you in the next video.